Hey guys, this is Gabriel Lorenzi, creator of the blog Grupo Dicas, one of the biggest travel blogs in the world, and today I am here to tell you what to do in Montevideo, what are the coolest tours, the beaches, shopping, sites, how to get to know everything, if everything's close, if everything's far, how much are the tickets, the tours. In short, there are several tips to help you set up your itinerary and know what to do in Montevideo. So stay tuned, these tips will be very quick, useful, and non-boring at all, guys. Don't forget to give us that like, that's very important for us. Don't forget the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel because that really helps us a lot, and buckle up. Well, Montevideo is the main destination in Uruguay. Practically everybody who goes to Uruguay goes to Montevideo. Some people end up extending to Punta del Este, Colonia del Sacramento, but Montevideo is the capital. It's the most visited tourist city in the country. Following a little bit by the style of the country itself, Uruguay is a small country. In terms of size, the city of Montevideo is not big either, and this tourist part is very concentrated. So it's a very easy city to explore. With maybe 3 days, you can see all the main tourist attractions. Of course, it's nice to stay a little bit longer to enjoy a day there, walking around, walking on the beaches, going to the mall, shopping, whatever. But in 2 or 3 days, you can totally explore it all, guys. You can go to all the sites and enjoy the city as much as you can during this time. In this video now, I'm going to focus on the tours and what to do there, but there's another video which is all Uruguay tips, which has all the tips you need. For example, how to get there, what's the best season, the low season, the high season, cold, heat, how many days to stay, what currency to take, how to change the pesos, you name it, guys. There are several specific travel tips. In this video, we're gonna focus only in the tours. Well, starting with the first touristic point that's usually the starting point for everybody, it's downtown, close to the old city, which is the most historical part of Montevideo, which is the Plaza Independencia. This plaza has become very important historically, culturally, even touristically for Uruguay because it's a square that symbolizes all the revolutions, the protests, so it has a very special place there for Uruguayans, and it's also a tourist attraction, one of the main ones. So a good tip is to try to start your trip there because it's a great place for you to go from there and end up going to other sites that we'll mention here and that are also located in this center close to the old town. I'm going to talk about the old town and downtown, the part that's on the map. When you look at the map in front of you, it's on the left, and you see that on the right you have Punta Carretas, Pocitos, which is the coolest beach to visit there, which is a little bit more modern, let's say. So not modern, but a little bit more noble, a little bit different. So the tourist attractions are divided between these two regions, guys, so we're gonna list them now. And there in this square, in the Independence Square, you see a very centralized statue that everybody takes pictures of, which is the statue of Artigas, who was a hero there for Uruguay, for the Uruguayans. He's considered a hero of the history of Uruguay in the issue of independence. He did the whole independence movement from the Spanish crown, so it has a special meaning for them. And he was buried there in the square, so he's still alive, in quotes, for the Uruguayans inside the square. So it has this very special meaning for them, and it's there like around you will see that they have several very different historical buildings with very old architecture. There is the presidential building, which is one of the most famous, so take a walk around there. In the spring the gardens are beautiful, in the fall it's also a different scenario, but it's a beautiful area for you to explore and walk around a little bit. And one place there that's very iconic for you to enjoy and take pictures, you will see that everybody will be taking pictures. It's the Salvo Palace. It's there too. It has a tower that's not so big, but at the time it was built, it was considered the tallest tower in South America. So it's another building that they try to conserve, to preserve, and it's very old, so you will see that there are a lot of people taking pictures. It's very easy to see it. If you look at the square, you will see that it's the building that stands out because of the height. There's another very famous and very beautiful tourist attraction that's close by, the Teatro Solis. It's a beautiful theater, the architecture is very beautiful both inside and outside, and every day there's a guided tour, so you can go in and go with a guide. He explains everything, it's very nice, and I remember that it was very cheap. At the time I think it ended up costing about $3 if I'm not mistaken. You have to see how much it is now, but it's a very cheap ticket, very affordable, and a tour that I think it's worth including. Another tourist spot in the Plaza Independencia behind that statue we mentioned, which is the Uruguayan hero on a horse. You will see that there is a door. It's kind of funny because it's in the middle of the street, they kept it. It's actually called the Puerta de la Ciudadela, which they keep and preserved the door of the military fortress that protected Montevideo at the time of the colonial attacks. They had all those wars, so it's a historical landmark for them as well. It's very nice because it gives a contrast, because it's in the middle of nowhere from the picture. You can better understand my explanation, so it's also another place for you to stop by, visit, and take some pictures there. Now, talking about museums, I'll go through it quickly if it doesn't stretch too much. There are plenty of museums to choose from in Montevideo. If you like research there which ones are the coolest, I'll mention here 3 that are the most sought after by tourists. I'll tell you quickly. They are not expensive, the same thing as Teatro Solis. The tickets are cheap, so check which one you like the most. There is the Torres Garcia Museum, which is one of the biggest art museums in Uruguay. Very cool, very organized. So for those who are focused on plastic art, it's very nice. It's very old and it has a lot of nice works of renown inside. They have the Andes Museum 1972, which was when it was built. A plane with 45 passengers crashed in the Andes. There they were presumed dead, 16 survived, and then they ended up creating all this history and created this museum. It's a very different and interesting story. And the Carnival Museum, guys, for those who don't know, Uruguay has Carnival and it's a very strong tradition in Uruguay, so they made a museum dedicated to the Carnival. It's not the same as the Carnival in Brazil, for example, but it's their tradition. They ended up making a museum. And guys, any questions you may have, you can send them to us whenever it's possible to try to help and answer them. It's even easier, faster. Add me on Instagram at @PaiLorenzi. Send me a direct message that I'll help you. And take the opportunity to follow us on social networks. We are always traveling around the world, trying to give travel tips in a very nice way and showing the family routine with our little ones, which are a blast. And we even made a new channel here on YouTube, which is Familia Lorenzi. We are showing our life here in Orlando. We moved here in Orlando about a year ago, so we are showing how life is in the United States, the Disney parks, the school, the food, outlets, the parks, the shopping, everything. So it's very cool. Follow it and I think you're gonna like it. Now, an attraction that's one of my favorites in Montevideo is the Mercado del Puerto. It's a very nice market there. It has all the Uruguayan spices, meat, a lot of delicious meat, all the typical food, and you can eat there on the spot. It's cheap. A tip for those who want to eat cheap, and you can buy some spices if you want to take them back home. If you want to take it as a souvenir to do when you go back to your country. In short, it's a very nice place, very enjoyable. There is a drink that we tried there, which is the median, which is white wine with the other half sparkling. We found it delicious. It's a culture there, and they have several other spices. And the tip, guys, there are 2 or 3 restaurants, at least at the time we were there, that you will see a corner around the grill. It's very nice. You see the person there barbecuing, the barbecue is exposed, and then you choose. He puts it on your plate. It's very nice, very different, very typical from Uruguay, guys. It's very nice and it's very tasty too. It's very different because you see everything being done at the time, but you can choose whatever you like and it's very good. For those who like soccer, guys, the history of soccer, there is the Centennial Stadium, which is one of the most famous in the world. It's where one of the first soccer cups was held, and there you can visit both the stadiums and the Museum del Futbol, which is their soccer museum showing all the history of Uruguay, their soccer, their titles, everything. So it's very nice. Take a look if you like soccer. If you're not a soccer fan, in my opinion, it's a place that's not so worth visiting. It's different from Barcelona when we went to the Camp Nou, which is the Barcelona stadium. Even those who don't like soccer, Lee, my wife, loved it because it's a beautiful place, incredible, it's a spectacular thing. There is something much more special, historical there. It's for those who really like soccer. And now we left the center a little bit. Everything I had talked about was in the center, in the old town. Now we are already in the Centennial Stadium, and this other part that I'll talk about is in the other part. It's also 10 minutes by car, by Uber, whatever. It's very close, but now it's in the Punta Carretas area. In my opinion, this part of Punta Carretas is the nicest place to stay. It's the most beautiful, a super charming area, and it's close to everything. There are much nicer hotels than in the center, where the hotels are much older, everything closes early, and at night it's a desert. So in the video we made about where to stay in Montevideo, we even give this tip: stay in the Punta Carretas area, which is the nicest area for strolling, and there is Pocitos Beach nearby. So these other attractions that I'm going to tell you quickly are centralized in this part. If you want even easier, here below in the description of the video, click here below, it will show more and it will open all the links that I left separated. One of them is the map. We made a very nice personalized map with the best region to stay in Punta Carretas and also in the center, for those who want sometimes to get a very economical option. If there is something very cheap, sometimes it pays off, but you will have these two regions already configured so that you can see the hotels there. Then you open this map, close it, put the date of your trip in the search engine that will open, put search, and then you click open the map again. It will open this map with the best region, with the hotels on the date of your trip, the prices, and only with nice hotels, because we have already set the filters to only show well-reviewed hotels from 8 to 10. So if you look there, you're sure to find a well-located, nice hotel, and it's possible to find very cheap hotels with this searcher. So look below, take a look, I think you'll like it. We always do all of our reservations there, so go down here in the description and go. So going now to this area of Punta Carretas, underneath there is a waterfront. You will see that's a waterfront that runs from the old city to this part. It's called Rambla. They call it Rambla, so is the seafront. It's called the Orla, and it's a tourist attraction. So take a day to try to walk a lot along the shore to see the places, you see the sea. It's very pleasant, the sea breeze, it's a very beautiful region. It's a very beautiful region indeed, guys. So you should visit the seaside, the Rambla, as a tourist attraction, and then arriving in the Punta Carretas area, there are some very nice things. There is Rodó Park, which is a very beautiful park. It's a very popular park. It's usually very crowded on weekends, so try to go on weekdays. It has the beach nearby, so it looks very nice. There are some amusement park things: cars, cups, horses, merry-go-round, sometimes a ferry wheel. It depends a lot on the day, and they have a visual arts museum too. There are some very touristy things inside, so try to visit it. It's very nice. Even more if you have kids, it's a great tour option. The kids love to be entertained there. And a little bit up there is Pocitos Beach, which is the most famous beach in Uruguay. It's a little bit above Punta Carretas, it's close to it, but for those who go there in the summer who want to enjoy the beach, it's the most sought after region and the most suitable. So take a walk along Pocitos Beach. The Montevideo sign is there at the end of it, so try to go there, take a picture. It's very nice because it's very touristy, and usually that picture is one that marks the trip to Montevideo. And then you go down Pocitos a little bit. Still going back to Punta Carretas, you have the last tourist attraction that we thought was very nice, which is the mall, the Punta Carretas Mall, guys. Uruguay is not so strong for shopping. It's not a place that has big shopping malls and outlets. In Chile, we thought it was pretty cool. In Argentina, there were also a lot of things. In Uruguay, especially in Montevideo, we had a hard time finding stores, the malls, big things with a lot of shopping options, and this mall was the coolest we found. So it's a nice mall. There are lots of stores: Adidas, Nike, Zara. There were a lot of these brands that we usually look for when we travel abroad, and the prices were good. The place is well organized. There are plenty of restaurants. You can have lunch or dinner there, and the cool thing is that it's close to everything, so no matter where you go, you're going to be close to the mall. And guys, an important tip, especially now in the pandemic period, I forgot to tell you, travel insurance has become mandatory for Uruguay, so don't forget it, otherwise you won't get in. The international travel insurance, for those who don't know, is an insurance that you take. We have always done it. For Europe, it has always been mandatory. For some countries, it has always been. For Uruguay, it wasn't, and it has changed now. That's why I'm warning you, because of COVID, so you have to have an international travel insurance to be able to enter there. Don't forget that. With COVID covered now in this pandemic season, afterwards, if you pass that, it's just the normal insurance. For those who don't know, it's very cheap and insurance that covers you for anything. I'll leave it here below with the travel insurance comparator. We have been using it for years. Everywhere we go around, it does a search in all of insurance companies and finds the cheapest prices. By far, it finds cheapest prices than the insurance company itself. If you go to the insurance company where it finds the price, you will see that it's more expensive there, so it's the cheapest place of all. It finds very good prices. For you to have an idea, international travel insurance for 5 days in Uruguay without COVID is $12, and with the COVID coverage, which is recommended even more in these times we're living, it ends up going to $20 per person. So it's a low price compared to all the coverage it offers, so you don't have those absurd hospital expenses during your trip. So you go in and do it. It's very quick. In 5 minutes you get it. There's no bureaucracy at all. You print out the policy and you're good to go. And for those who are looking for the famous casinos in Uruguay, the main one and the only one left that's very nice is the Casino Carrasco. It's the most famous. It's located in a building that became a historical patrimony of Uruguay. It's behind the hotel Sofitel Carrasco. It was totally renovated there in 2012, 2013, and the casino is very nice. It has always worked 24 hours, but because of the pandemic, it had some schedule adjustments, but it's still working. Whoever is interested and has the desire to know a casino, it's worth stopping by to get to know the place. And now let's talk about the wineries. For those who like a good wine or just a good landscape, visit at least one winery close to Montevideo because they are beautiful. There is one that's the most famous. It was the one we liked the most. It's called Bodega Souza. It's very close to Montevideo. You can go there by car, even by Uber. It's a little bit far away, but you can go there, and there are tours that make this excursion. There are some companies. I'll even leave the website here below. The one we bought is a very good website. It's one of the biggest sellers of tickets and tours in the whole world. They have tours to Punta del Este, Colonia de Sacramento. They have several nice tours, and this vineyard tour is one of the best sellers. It's very cool and worth it. You see the whole vineyard, you get to know the winery, the process. There is also wine tasting, which is also a delight, so try to include it there, that you will like. And to finish our video, the video of what to do in Montevideo, but there are some really cool things outside Montevideo that are close by, so we'll talk about it real quick. There are two main tourist cities. There are Punta del Este, it's about an hour and a little bit away. It's a bit closer, it's a more beach town, and in the summer it's really worth visiting, so check it out. Try to do at least the round trip. The website has a very nice tour that goes and comes back in the same day. You can stay 2 days in Punta del Este. This is a very good tip. You end up enjoying it more. And there is Colonia del Sacramento, which is a city that's a little bit more historical, with more of a historical touch than Punta del Este, which is a little bit more lively, more beachy. You have Colonia del Sacramento, but it's a little bit far away. It's about 2 hours away from Montevideo. You can do the round trip, but it's a little bit tiring, but you can. There's also a tour of the website. You can take it. The bus is super nice, the transportation, but it's a little bit tiring. Or you can also sleep one day there. If you have a car, it's very nice. We always say that in Uruguay, it's very worthwhile to rent a car if you want to visit these cities. In Montevideo, you don't need one, so what you can do, for example, you arrive in Montevideo at the airport, you can visit the city, everything, and then you rent a car to go to Punta del Este, stay 3 days, then you go to Colonia de Sacramento. There is Punta del Diablo also further on, so you can do these routes very easily by car. We did the trip by car. It was very smooth from Montevideo to Punta del Este to take a look. Car rental in Uruguay is cheap, guys. After the pandemic, the price went up a little bit, but it's back to normal now. So take a look around. There's a website that's similar to the travel insurance website. It compares all the rental companies and looks for the best price. These comparators are very good for everybody, people. We use them a lot and save a lot with them. So I'll leave it here below in the video description as well, together with all the other links. Everything you need is gonna be here in the description of the video. Use the comparator. You will see, just search, you will see that the prices are not high. You don't spend so much gas because you are not so far away from things. We thought it was very worthwhile to have the car to do the destinations. The winery can also be reached by car, so check out that sometimes it's worth it to rent a car in your trip. It's even sometimes cheaper than if you're paying for Uber, the tours, the transfers, airport, taxi. Do the math right, and it can be totally worth it for you depending on how many people you have with you. And all the links that I mentioned, I'll leave here below. There is the chip that we use to use the internet whenever we leave the country. It's the cheapest, most economical and easiest way to use the cell phone, because the cell phone in your country doesn't work abroad unless you activate the international roaming. That's usually a big hassle for most carriers. It's very expensive, so this chip is good. And there is also a place where you can buy Uruguayan pesos, which is very good and very practical. It's one of the biggest exchange house in our country. It's all online. You buy online, they deliver the bills there, the Uruguayan pesos, so it's very practical, safe, because you don't need to go to a currency exchange office, which usually makes you feel insecure about leaving with the money. Anyway, I'll leave everything listed here below for you guys to take a look, including the hotel we stayed in Montevideo, which was very good, very cheap and well located. So everybody asks, and that's why I included it here. Take a look here below with these links from the description. You will be able to plan your whole trip, guys, with all things included. And that's it, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, don't forget to give us that like and subscribe to the channel, because that really helps us a lot. And be sure to watch the other videos that are very good. I'll leave aside the one about how to travel cheaply in Uruguay that gives all the tips for you to save the most money there, and the playlist that has all the other videos for you to watch. So thanks a lot, guys, and have nice trips.